Good morning, friends. First of all, I like to thank the Indian Society for Training and Development Hyderabad chapter for giving me this privilege of speaking to you first in the morning today on 17th of December 2022. I'm only sorry that I am unable to make it personally to the conclave. Howsoever, I wish to be there with you all and share my thoughts. It's wonderful that ISTD Hyderabad chapter thought of such an important topic like creating leadership talent for the future. It's a wonderful topic. Leadership has become the thing to be talked about in most of the seminars globally, in not only in HR forums, personal forums, management forums, even in economic forums and all other kind of forums. Sometimes I started wondering if leadership and talent are the new terms for everything we do in corporations and the government and everywhere. Well, I won't be surprised if that is going to be the case, that slowly leadership will replace everything and even the management education programs will become leadership education programs. I still remember the year 1985-86 when I was asked to review the postgraduate program curriculum of IIM Ahmedabad. I was coordinating a committee, and the first thing we decided was the mission of the MBA program, and that is when the IIM Ahmedabad decided the mission of the postgraduate program is to build leaders for the future. I'm talking of 1986, almost over 46 years ago. It's so wonderful to talk on this particular topic. I like to start by indicating to you what you have in the midst of you as speakers and as mentors and as those who are there to influence your thought. These are at least I will talk of four of the individuals besides Dr. Arvind Agrawal, who is the co-author of the book Leaders in the Making along with me. At least four of them I know are there who are going to be addressing you. I'd like to tell you, without revealing their names, some clips from the stories we have documented in our book. I would begin with one of the speakers that you are going to talk to, and I will not name him. He had somewhat difficult childhood that gave him lessons of learning from tough circumstances. He lived in very modest family with just one room. In the school, no benches. He had to sit on the floor. His father was away to Calcutta. He was brought up by trade union uncle who believed in radical method and had bicycle chain around his neck, around his waist. This leader chose HR as career, and he had seen his uncle in action and he wanted to be opposite of him. Multiple schools where he experienced diversity, his father shifting cities, had significant impact on him. He learned from exposure to multiple religions, went to church regularly during his school, and also went to a temple which was about 10 kilometers away. He had friends who were Muslims and Christians besides Hindus. Accepted by the friends' families, though he is of a different religion. He learned from many teachers in XLRI, mingling with people from diverse backgrounds, rich and poor students from various backgrounds. XLRI helped others with exam preparation, but he spent a lot of time in library as a loner. Influenced by professors and challenged by a classmate, he got provoked to excel in studies and learned the power of network. He learned from handling VRS in one of the factories he worked while he sent young men out of jobs. When he was asked to send young men out of jobs, he refused to take bonus for handling this, as he felt that he was not doing the right thing. Of course, this triggered him to leave the company where he was working. So he says he learned a lot in handling VRS in this factory, sending young men out of the job. He learned from his seniors carrying their own luggage without expecting any reverential treatment. And his bosses, the way they looked after the candidate, offering them tea and biscuits during interviews, impacted him phenomenally. I can go on and on, but this is a very interesting case of one of the leaders who is going to address you. There is another leader who is going to address you who lived amidst financial hardships. For him, early childhood living was with his mom in 10:7 small room, and was difficult for the two ends to meet, and his mother doing stitching, tuition, trading, while his father passed away when he was 11 years. He gave private tuitions, shared food with servants when there is not enough for them. Going around, of course, was his hobby. He failed in class 6, but his mother taught him, and he continued to strive and progressively got to top his school. He also went to XLRI, not deterred by failure. In XLRI, he was guided by one of the professors. He visited Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity, Tin Plate Workers Colony, and so on. His professor was keen that students do some field work while studying. She also explained the importance of charity. He will, of course, share with you, may not be this story, but a lot of other things what he had done. Even today, he is number one to volunteer, whether it is HRD network or any other professional bodies in the service of the society. You have a third leader whose habit of reading books and reflecting and networking skills made him what he became as a leader. It led him to plunge into working for the All India Management Association, through which he was networking with CEOs, entrepreneurs, as well as building connections for the National HRD Network, for which he was president for some time. While he reveled in processes, norms, and was a stickler of rules, using them for business goals, he also learned the art of going beyond processes and breaking norms when necessary. He always put a premium on transparency and acceptance rather than gaining authority from his position. He was later elevated to the board of the company where he was working. When he had to fire a senior and a person before his daughter's wedding, he managed it by delaying and communicating the same thing with grace. That talks of his interpersonal competence, and it was put to test the way he managed several such experiences. You have a fourth leader who is going to address you during the day. Now, this leader was compelled to read, when he was young, about 40 books to appreciate the essence of one poem, realizing that truth did not reside in any one discipline, but in the intersection of disciplines. This was a very invaluable learning. Although in the beginning he did not have preparation in HR, from literature he went on to HR and discovered real essence of HR through reading a variety of books. He found insights into interdisciplinary complexities at the workplace without anyone actually mentoring him, though he sought the companionship of various gurus to look for invigorating thoughts. He developed a balanced view of HR as an important cog in the corporate wheel, but not the key. He says many deluded themselves into thinking that HR held the key for everything. Indeed, the key to the CHRO's role, in his view, was the ability to integrate diverse agendas into CHRO's own, because the job was to unleash the potential in every profession and professional while creating and nurturing an ecosystem. So for him, building an agenda to be inclusive of others' priorities was the biggest learning. I mentioned to you just 4 leaders. We have documented pretty detailed stories of about 30 leaders in our book, Leaders in the Making. What are the main lessons that I want to draw from this book as well as from my 56 and odd years of experience post my post-graduation? Number 1, the fundamental question most people keep asking us, are leaders born? Can leadership be developed? I think this book answers you that leaders are developed. In fact, they develop themselves. I am reminded of the beautiful parable from the Bible, the sower and the seed. A farmer went to sow the seed, and as he was sowing the seed, some fell on the rocks and never germinated. Some fell in the fences. They germinated, but the fences overpowered them, did not allow them to grow. Some fell in the fertile ground, and they germinated, grew. They were given water and all that, and the fertile ground grew and yielded multifold fruits, 30 times, 40 times, and things of that kind. I want to modify this story to say that we are all walking, talking, and self-germinating seeds. Now, the lessons you can learn from all these leaders, the 4 leaders I mentioned, and 26 others I have not mentioned, is to reinterpret the sower and the seed. We are all living seed. If we happen to be the seed that were put on the rock, now 2 of the leaders had very difficult early childhood, but even when they were on the rock, they waited and they moved themselves to a fertile ground where they could yield multiple results. So even if you are sown on the rock, we have the ability to multiply, we have the ability to shift our ground. If you are sown and some fences are overpowering you, you have the ability to move away from those fences and then make your own life wonderful. If you happen to be on the fertile ground, of course, the ground will never be stable. It will keep on changing, and you have the capability to constantly sense and build yourself as a leader. By reinterpreting this parable, I would like to very clearly say that leadership is developed. It depends on you. Sometimes we wonder, am I a good seed? I would want to believe that everyone is a good seed. Everyone is born as a good seed with the capability to be a leader. But circumstances sometimes may suppress us, may take time for us to germinate. And even if you are born in a great family and you started germinated, unless you make yourself wonderful, you are not likely to make an impact. So these leader stories very clearly tell us that you are a self-germinating leader. You can make a lot out of yourself. I want to say that this particular work that we have done, as well as my years of experience, demonstrates leaders are made and leaders make themselves with the help of parents, with relatives, with the help of teachers, institutions, first job, good bosses, bad bosses, and everyone you come across. For that, you should be aware that leadership is a process and leaders are the products of the process. The process can be impacted by you at any point of time. You must recognize leadership is a capital. It is competency capital, it is value capital, it is experience capital, it is intellectual capital, and we build our own capital. I hope the stories you hear during this conference today will help you to recognize the talent inside you and become the best of the leaders on this globe. All the best. Thank you very much for this opportunity.